We're in frame, baby. We're in frame. What's up? It's Logan. Welcome to the podcast. Don't have a name for it yet. I don't even know what we're going to be doing on here. But I just wanted to start something up. I guess I'll just start by introducing myself. Hi, my name is Logan Allen. I'm an actor from Orlando, Florida. You guys might know me from Netflix's Sweet Magnolias, Stranger Things, Creep Show, Bernie the Dolphin, and some other little things here and there. Welcome to this podcast. I'm going to try to make this one as authentic as I possibly can, so I'm not going to be editing much. So if there are some pauses and stuff, that's why. I want to make this a little bit easier on myself in the editing room because it can get pretty time consuming. So, this podcast, like I said, don't even have a name for it. I think it's going to be called the Logan Allen Podcast, at least for now, until we find some really cool name, and that's where you guys need to come into play. You need to let me know. Now, what we're going to be doing here, I don't know exactly. I want this to be more of a personal podcast, right, where you guys see a lot of my acting side and what I do there, my professional side, but I want to kind of talk about kind of the everyday, Logan that you guys might not really see, and I feel like the podcast is definitely a way to do that. So I got some of my things up here. I know it's a little bland in the back. I'm going to be putting up shelves and all this stuff will be up there and some other things. But as you can see, I'm a Gator fan. I love horror. Obviously those will be big topics moving forward. We got it's perfect because it's fall season. So we got college football and Halloween's coming up. So it's great. We're going to talk about Halloween Horror Nights coming up and all that fun stuff. And probably next week's episode. We're going to do rankings on here. If you guys were on my YouTube, it's Logan. Then if you kind of know the content that I kind of put out on there, I'm going to bring a lot of that to this podcast. So we're going to be doing rankings. We're still, even though this isn't an acting podcast, we're still going to talk about acting, obviously, right? And answer any questions that you guys might have within the industry or at least common questions that I get within the industry. We're going to pretty much talk about everything. It's not just going to be a, singular, focus point that we focus on. That's not the best way to put that. But you guys know what I mean. We're not focusing on one subject, or there's not one meaning behind this podcast. It's really just kind of for fun and just to kind of talk about everything that I'm interested in personally. And like I said, you see a lot of that right in front of you right now. Welcome, by the way, to the studio. This is a lot of fun. I just did something on my computer. What did I just do? There you go. I got this studio not long ago. I'm going to be doing acting classes here, which is super, super fun. So I'm going to do a little shameless plug here. I have, like I said, the studio that I'm opening up. It's called Allen Studios. We start classes actually next week. I believe the 14th, or yes, I believe the 13th of next week. So almost pretty much a week from now. Yeah, a week from now. I'm filming this Wednesday. I'm really excited about these classes. I have 3 classes available right now. I have an adult class, in person. That's from 17 and up. That'll be in person here at the studio. I have another class, that is adult online, same age range. And then I have, a kids in person. That's, I believe, from 12 to 16 years of age. That one's going to be in person. So those are the 3 classes I have right now. Both in person is $125 every 4 weeks. We meet once a week for an hour and a half, 2 hours, around that range. And we sit down and just kind of go over scripts. We talk about different things. And then the online one is pretty much the same process, but it's $100 per 4 weeks, which is a pretty good price. So, I was wanting to start the kids in person and the adult online next week as well, but just because of there's a lot of spots open, and I want to make sure that you guys are getting your money's worth out of it. You know what I mean? Whenever you do sign up for this class, because we already have a few people signed up for those, but I don't want to start up the class and then you guys not truly get that authentic experience out of it because you're paying good money for it, right? So I want to. I want to make sure that we got a pretty good full class before we start moving forward with these. And the way that you can sign up is if you go to my Instagram account for Allen Studios, you can DM me there and you'll be reserved for your spot. And then the first day you come in, you'll pay for the 4 weeks. So if you once again go to my Instagram, it's Allen Studios FL. I'll have it on your screen right now. You can go there, DM me, and then we'll get you reserved for one of those classes. Should be a lot of fun. Now, the online, it's going to be through Zoom. The in-person is in the studios here in Central Florida. It's actually specifically in a town called St. Cloud, Florida, right under Orlando. It's in Central Florida. So if you're in that area, I think it's going to be really fun. Like I said, we're going to be, and I'll give the specific location and everything once we start really moving forward, with the classes, and once I get my class fully set for the 4 weeks. So you guys will know ahead of time. But yeah, no, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, we're going to be talking about, number one, I'm going to be answering any questions you guys have within the industry, talking about agents, talking about audition tips, self-tape tips, things, things to look out for in the industry, things to avoid in the industry. So we're going to dive into all of that. We're going to dive into how to approach a script, how to approach a scene, character development. I have a 4-step process that I kind of go through, and I'm going to be really diving deep into that one once we do the classes and kind of share that with you guys. 'Cause that's what acting classes are about. Like, you don't want to stick with one acting class for your whole life, right? I've done plenty. I've done a good handful. And what you do is you go to these different acting classes because everybody's different, and every process is not going to, it might not feel right for you, right? You got to find that one process that does feel right. And the way that you do that is do different acting classes. And sometimes you mix different processes. You take a few steps from this person, take a few steps from this person, and kind of merge it together, which is something that I've done personally, and a lot of people I know do. So, even though you guys, might not, this specific process might not be exactly what you want, it's definitely going to really help you out when it comes to kind of building that overall structure that's going to help you move forward as an actor when it comes to approaching scenes and going through character development and all that fun stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm really excited to dive into that with you guys and to kind of just help you guys and grow as actors and people. And also it's going to help me, right? I'm going to see the whole acting class thing from a different perspective, and it's going to really help me grow. And I'm excited to see this 4-week process that we're going to be doing. And you don't only have to do 4 weeks. You can do 4 weeks, take a break for a month, come back for another 4 weeks, or do 4 weeks and then 4 weeks again. It's every month it's going to be different content. I'm going to be giving you a different script. Maybe 1 month we work on monologues, right? And every week we're going to be, taking another step forward, right? We're going to be recording ourselves in 1 week. Then we're going to come back. We're going to look at that footage and then kind of analyze what we can do better, right? Because there's things that you do on screen that you might not realize that you're doing, and it might kind of affect your art in a negative way, right? We all have one little thing that we do, and it's weird, right? Some of us make we do weird things with our face in the scene that kind of takes the audience out of it. We might be blinking too much, that's something I do. There's things that that are just not very good habits that we kind of have to get rid of, and the way to do that is through watching back the footage. So there's things like that we're going to be really diving into, and I'm excited to do that with you guys. And like I said, the way to reserve that is if you go to Allen Studios FL, go on there, have those 3 classes for you guys. And if you're in a different state, if you're not close to Central Florida, you can do the online course, and we can kind of get that thing going. So I'm very excited about it. This is the studio we're in right now, and kind of having my own space is really cool and really exciting because I get to do this and get to do the acting classes. So it's very, very exciting, and I'm excited to dive into it with you guys. So that's what I've been doing, of course, with the strike and everything going on. This has definitely occupied my time. I've had to paint everything. My dad's really helped me out with that. You guys know how dads are, man. Coming in, working their butt off. We got pretty much the whole studio, or we're getting very close. We got to get the bathroom done, and we're working on that now. Got to hang a few more things up, and we're good to go. So I'm very, very excited. Put a lot of time and effort into this, and kind of seeing it come together is very cool. But yeah, I'm excited. This is gonna be cool. I'm like this. Like I said, this podcast is just. I'm excited to dive into something a little different, and for you guys, and to open up a little bit more to my audience, and you guys get to see me on more of a personal level. I'll be doing Q&As on here. Like I said, pretty much everything that I did on my YouTube, just more elongated because, YouTube. Not many people sit down and watch an hour, YouTube video. Right? But if it's more of a podcast where they can sit down and just kind of listen to, they don't have to watch or things like that. Like, it's just people gravitate toward that a little bit more. Because I'm the same way. I don't want to sit down and watch an hour-long YouTube video that I have to really watch, but I can sit down and listen to a 2-hour podcast any day of the week. So that's kind of what I really wanted to do here. And since Actors POV, my other podcast, is not really going because of the strike. It's just a good way to kind of keep my engagement with you guys out there, man. My supporters, my fans, you guys mean the world to me, and I just want to. I don't know, a big thing for me is just that engagement. You know what I mean? It's the least I can do for you guys that do make what I do possible and make my life just so much better. So it really does mean a lot. And then if you guys specifically want me to talk about anything in this podcast, you guys let me know. I mean, today I'm not really diving into anything specifically. We're going to talk about college football here in a little bit for a good amount of time. But, any kind of segment you guys want me to do, I mean, any ideas you guys want me to do, anything you want me to talk about, you guys let me know. We could do a crap ton of stuff. I can do reaction videos to different things going on, or just whatever you guys want. Let me know, and we can dive into it into the podcast and talk about it. And you guys get to hear my perspective from it. Because I feel like that's what society really needs right now. We really need to sit down and communicate, right? We really need to sit down and hear other people's perspective, because everybody's life experiences are different, and there's a reason why people think a certain way, and it's just good to sit down and hear someone else's perspective, and it really opens your eyes. And that, I think that's like, I'm really happy I grew up that way. So my it's funny. I grew up like half country, half city. So my dad's side's very southern, very country. My dad grew up doing rodeo and, working cows and cattle and all that. My mom's side's total opposite. She grew up in the heart of Orlando, man, Orange Avenue, like all that fun stuff. So I have kind of both sides to it. And I think that's kind of helped me as a person, because since I've grown up in these two very different cultures, I've been able to kind of see things through both lenses very well. And I feel like that's what a lot of people need, right? A lot of people do need to sit down and kind of really, really take that in and see things from different perspectives and different lenses. And luckily I've been able to, have that experience in my life, and I think that's kind of what led me to think the way I think. So that's what's cool. I'm very, very blessed to kind of be in that situation. But speaking of like the family and stuff, I thought it'd be really cool, because obviously with Actors POV, we bring on actors and we talk to producers, and I have so many people lined up to bring on that podcast. When the strike ends, guys, we got some really cool guests from a lot of the projects I've worked on, from people that I'm fans of. So I'm very excited to for those interviewees to come in. But when it comes to interviews on here, not even interviews, I want to sit down and have conversations with people, and I don't just want to do it with like, famous people or well-known people. I would like to do it with like friends and family and kind of bring them on. And I think that'd be really cool. So if you guys are interested about that, just kind of hearing different people's stories and stuff like that. I love talking to people, and I love hearing stories and hearing where someone came from. And, you even your best friend, right? You can always learn something new about him. And, there's always some story they didn't tell you or haven't told you yet. So that's kind of what I want to do is dive into all that and kind of get different people's perspectives and stories. And I love that aspect of life, actually, conversing and kind of having that talk, those conversations are always the best. So that's kind of what I'm wanting to do here, for sure on the podcast. But when it comes to suggestions, you guys let me know, and we can make it happen, baby. We'll make it happen. Yo, haven't had Chick-fil-A such a long time. So good. I feel like Chick-fil-A is like that one fast food that doesn't like feel like fast food. You go to McDonald's, you go to Taco Bell. I love Taco Bell, but it tastes like fast food. You know what I'm saying? You go to Chick-fil-A, you get that salad, whatever you get. Even like I said, one of the healthy options. Even just you get the nuggets. It doesn't feel like fast food, but it's terrible for you. Those oils they put in there, yeah, not the best. But yeah. So that's that. I know we kind of got deep into like some cool talk there. And that's what I want to do on this podcast. I'm excited, man. We got a lot of fun. This is dusty. Oh my God. But yeah, I'm excited to dive into this with you guys. Like I said, if you have any suggestions, definitely let me know. like I said, this is just kind of the intro video, so I don't want to spend too much time on this. We can talk about Hauling Hornites and all the fun stuff going on there. The house is what I'm going to be hitting up next week. But one thing that I'm going to be talking about every single week, because it's football season, it's football, baby, specifically college football. I'm also in a fantasy team. So I'll be talking. Let me look at my fantasy team. I'm in a fantasy league with some of my boys. Let me see. We could talk about that every week to kind of keep up with what's going on there. Let me see. Let me look at my team real quick, and I'll kind of tell you guys who I have, what we're looking at. Let me see. My team. All right. So, I don't remember my team. Oh, this is a bad team. Yo, hold on. All right. So here's my team. I got Tua at quarterback for Miami. I think we're gonna see the matchup in a minute and see if I'm projected to win or not. I got Bijan Robinson, bro. Picked him up, I believe, in the second round. Or it might have been first round. I think it might have been first round. My position in the rounds were so bad. We have a 14-team league, 14 teams, and your boy was like right in the middle, dude. Or not right. I was like a little bit toward the end, kind of in the middle. So it's like you don't even get back-to-back picks. I was in the worst possible place. But yeah, I have Tua at quarterback, Bijan Robinson at running back for Atlanta. We got I think it's Jamal Williams. I think who is that? Javonte Williams at running back. I'm not as big of an NFL fan, so I'm sorry, guys. Chris Olave at receiver for New Orleans. I feel like he's going to be a big guy for him. We got Ridley with the Jacksonville Jaguars at receiver. We got Goddard, I think is his name, the tight end for Philadelphia. I feel like people say Philadelphia is going to run the ball a lot this year, but they have what's his name? Oh my God, he's the offensive coordinator. Brian Johnson. So Brian Johnson was the offensive coordinator for Florida under Dan Mullen. He was the passing game coordinator. He's what made Kyle Trask in that 2020 season for the Florida Gators so good. I love him, dude. I love him as a play caller. Love him as just for his scheme overall. He knows how to shape his scheme around players, not how to get players for his scheme. He's very flexible, very versatile as a play caller and offensive coordinator. I feel like they're going to be throwing the ball a lot. Brian Johnson loves to throw the ball. I expect Goddard to have a big year. Then we have Pittman Jr. For the receiver for Indianapolis. He's my flex position. I just feel like Anthony Richardson's going to have to find that big guy for him. I love Anthony Richardson. I feel like he's going to have to find someone he can consistently rely on and throw the ball to. I feel like Pittman can definitely be that guy. We'll see if he is. I have the Steelers defense as my defense. I think that was a pretty good pick. And then we have, I think his name's Tyler Bass, right? Yep, Tyler Bass is my kicker from the Bills. That's my starting lineup. For my bench, I have Brian Robinson Jr., the guy that got like shot 4 times and came back to 50 cents. Many men, dude. That was crazy. And then we have Jordan Love at quarterback on bench. I like this pick a lot. I don't know how I stole him. I stole him in like the 7th round. Don't ask me how. He was still up there. I picked Jordan Love. I feel like he's going to be starting quarterback, and I think he can do some big things. He plays at Chicago this weekend. I feel like he can have a big year. And if Tua ever goes down again with concussions or whatever's going on with him, I feel like this can be definitely a pretty good choice for quarterback. We have Jordan Addison, I believe his name is. I think it's Jordan Addison. Yep, Jordan Addison at receiver for the Vikings. Really good receiver. He just needs to have that spark and really needs to get going, and I think he definitely can. And then we have, this guy's name, Okinoku. Really good tight end. He's on my bench. He's definitely a tight end that I can put up there in place for Goddard if he's out or if he has an injury or questionable, whatever it may be. He's reliable. The Tennessee tight end. I feel like Tennessee can have a sneaky good year this year. I'm just going to say that. I feel like Tennessee, I'm not even an NFL guy, but from what I do watch, I feel like Tennessee, I like their coach. I like what they have there. Tennessee might be pretty good. Not great. I'm not saying Super Bowl, like, and what are they, AFC or NFC? Not the championship for their league. I just truly think that they're going to be a sneaky good team. Then we have Paris Campbell for the New York Giants. This was more of just I just needed to get another wide receiver, and he was my guy. I mean, he's just not as good as he was. but it was just a guy I needed. And then we have Patterson at kicker, Riley Patterson for the Lions, which is really not a bad choice. Like he was still on the thing, and I was like, I'll get another kicker, why not? And then we have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who destroyed the Florida Gator defense in the 2019 LSU and Florida game. So that's my lineup this year for fantasy. I actually haven't even looked at it since we did the draft like 2 weeks ago. And let me see if I'm projected to win. I don't know if I am or not. No, I'm projected to lose. I'm at 112.02, and then the guy that my boy Sean I'm playing against, he's at 118.59. That's crazy. So yeah, I'm projected to lose. We'll see what I do. I think I was projected to be in like the middle of the pack for that fantasy league. The other one I'm in, I think I'm projected like once again in the middle of the pack. So I'm actually not a terrible fantasy drafter. I just don't know NFL good enough. You know what I mean? That's kind of where the problem lies for me. But now when it comes to college football, we could probably make some NFL picks. We could probably start doing that next week. I just don't know NFL well enough, but I do know college football really well, especially SEC. So let's go and talk about college football. We're going to go ahead and start with my Florida Gators. This won't be too long. I'm probably going to spend most of my time on the Gators and Utah game. We're going to talk about the Gators every single week because I'm a huge Gators fan. So let's go and dive into them. We have, like I said, the Florida Gators versus Utah. Man, they went into Utah. Utah had their third-string quarterback out there. They had like 8 starters out for their team in total. Secondary was banged up. I believe they didn't have a receiver. Oh, their tight end, who's an absolute monster, wasn't even in the game. And Utah upsets Florida. I wouldn't say upsets, but beat Florida pretty bad compared to what a lot of people were saying. 24-11, and that 8 of those points from Florida came at really just garbage time touchdown there at the end. Yeah, this one hurt. Man, I don't even know what to say. Florida just didn't play good. Florida's penalties was what really got him in this game. Florida had 9 penalties, and they weren't good penalties. Like if it's like just 5 yards you can't really look at penalties, the number of penalties, and be like, okay, penalties is what lost this game. It genuinely came from, it just came at the worst times. There were so many times where Florida was at 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 on offense, and it was 3rd and manageable. They could do a play action. They could do just a quick screen. They could do a run right up the middle with Trevor Etienne and Montrell Johnson. But then you just get a flag. You get a false start. You get a holding. There's something or illegal formation happened like 4 times in this game. Things like that really, really hindered them on offense and to put them in 3rd and long situations that they couldn't convert. That's not, when you have an offense like Florida that is, listen, I love Billy Napier. I think he's a phenomenal head coach. I think we need an offensive coordinator in there, someone that has a little bit more spark on offense. I think Billy Napier's such a good head coach. He can recruit. He can build a culture better than most elite, not elite, but most of the Power 5 head coaches right now in college football. I do think that. I think he can obviously recruit better than them, and that's pretty much shown. I think we still have a top 3 recruiting class for this next year. He knows how to build a culture. He's already flipped everything around. All these players truly want to play for this football team, even in the NIL world that we're in. I love Billy Napier and what he's doing, but man, we need some spark on this offense. And this year is a buffer year. Right, we're waiting for DJ Lagway to come in. The 5. They say he's a 4-star, but he's pretty much a 5-star quarterback coming in. He just got invited to the finals for the Elite 11. I believe 2 nights ago or this past weekend. So a lot of fun stuff here. A lot of stuff to look forward to talent-wise, and a lot of young players on this Gators team this year that showed a lot of promise, like Trey Wilson and some of the really talented guys on the outside, like Caleb Douglas. But we really need to get something good. This year, I want 6 wins, and this game just didn't really show that. It made it worse. I love Graham Mertz. He played a great game. You look at Graham Mertz, he threw for 31 of 44 pass attempts, 70% completion percentage, 333 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, which I believe was a deflection, and then they picked it off. But that's a 98 QBR. That's pretty solid, man. Even though a lot of those yards did come from quick screens off to the side, I do like what Graham Mertz did. Graham Mertz is a solid quarterback. He can win you football games. He just can't win when everything's on his shoulders, right? And that's kind of what we did here. They had no running game. Trevor Etienne, 7 attempts for 25 yards. And Montrell Johnson, 3 attempts for 6 yards. Just didn't look pretty. The longest run we had all day was Graham Mertz at 11 at 11 yards. All right. And then for running backs, it was Eugene Wilson. Last time he's a wide receiver. It was Trevor Etienne with 8 yards. It's not even a first down. Come on. So it's just like, we can't be one-dimensional. I didn't really like that. But to be honest, Florida was moving the ball. They look like Clemson, right? Clemson moving the ball down the field and making mistakes. Same thing with Florida, moving the ball down to about midfield, and then just couldn't get past that with these dumb mistakes that would happen. They would get a couple first downs to just stall out. But like I said, a lot of that does have to do with this offense, and I don't know. I just hope we get this figured out, man. We need to run the ball more. I think we abandoned it too early on, and I think Billy Napier did address that. So we just need to figure this out. Gators need to bounce back. That penalty we had on fourth down, Utah, we stopped them. It was a fourth and 3 at the I think like a 50-yard line midfield. They went to punt it, and Florida had 2 defenders on the field at the same time with the same number because they didn't know if they were going to do punt or safe punt or punt safe, or they were going to do punt return. They didn't know what they were going to do. Screwed everything up. And that, I think, comes down to Florida not having a special teams coach. We have 2 offensive linemen or 2 offensive line coaches and not a special teams coach. I think that's kind of where that came from. I don't know. It's a problem. Things like that are definitely on the coaches. And this game, I would say, is on the coaches and not on the players. Defensively, the Gators look great. Really consistent. I understand that Utah took their foot off the gas. But still, let's look at Utah's stats here. Bryson Barnes, 12 of 18, 66, or pretty much 67% completion percentage, 159 yards, 1 touchdown. Yeah, he had 122.7 QBR, but that really came from that really long pass that was like 60 yards. Okay, we did really well there. And to be honest, rushing-wise, they didn't do much. They only had 45 rushing yards for 2 of their Nate Johnson, I believe, was one of their quarterbacks. Yeah, so their main running back, Bernard, only had 45 rushing yards, and their next running back only had 15. Their quarterback, Nate Johnson, the backup, had 45. He's a little dangerous, but they didn't really have a running game. They didn't really have a passing game. This Florida defense did very well, and even though they took their foot off the gas in the second half, the Gators still only held them, I believe, to under 50 yards, and that was just really impressive and really well done by them. We just look better. We look more coherent as a group, and look like an actual defense out there. Even though we made a lot of mistakes, we still really clamped up for the most part. The offense is truly what lost us this game, and I think it's safe to say that. So we'll see. Gators play McNeese State this weekend. Just need to be a win. Obviously, it's going to be a win. McNeese State's not good at all. I want to see a shutout by the defense, and I want to see this offense go crazy. I think they will for sure. I want to see a good run game. I want to ignite some more confidence in that run game. So, of course, when we play Tennessee, which I'm going to, by the way, I'm going to that Tennessee game, we can have some confidence going into that first game back in the Swamp, but first big game in the Swamp this season, first SEC game of the season. And, Tennessee's going to be coming in there with Joe Milton throwing that ball around, and I hope the Gators go in there and play a good, disciplined game. We'll see what happens. So that's it for the Gator game. Just really sucks. Not the best showing, but big props to Utah. Utah's a good team, by the way. They played good atmosphere and good game overall. So every week I go through 10 games for college football and I predict them. The best 10 games of the week, I believe, and I go through them and predict them. So the Gators versus Utah was one of the games I picked this week because everybody was looking forward to it. And of course, I got that one wrong. I picked the Florida Gators to win, and we kind of know what happened there. Sadly, very, very sadly. So next game we have is Nebraska and Minnesota. I have it pulled up right here if I can find it. Nebraska loses in the most Nebraska fashion ever to Minnesota, 13-10. Man, this was a rough game. I will say this. I really like Jeff Sims as a quarterback. I really, really do. He threw 3 interceptions. Those interceptions were a little rough, but man, when he gets going, he can get going. He can play a good game. He can run. He can throw. He ran all over this Minnesota defense. I think he had like 90 rushing yards. And those aren't counting the sacks. I didn't really watch this game too much. I didn't watch a lot of games this weekend. I had the premiere for The Dark Room, which we'll get to in a little bit, actually, before the podcast ends. The short film that me and my buddy are making, or that we made, and then we're editing right now, and we premiered it at a festival. My buddy Braden Noel, big shout out to Mr. Braden. But yeah, no, so I wasn't able to watch too much, but I was looking at my phone and watching games when I could. And this is a game that I tuned into a little bit. This was Thursday. this game was exciting. This happened during the Florida Gator game, so I was kind of going back and forth. I really like Jeff Sims. I think he has something good. Matt Rule's going to build this Nebraska program up, but man, they just lost in the most Nebraska fashion in the world. Minnesota came in and scored like 10 points, a field goal and a touchdown in that fourth quarter, and had the field goal that kind of put it all away. It sucks to see. Like, listen, if you're a college football fan or NFL fan and you think your team sucks and you think that the world's burning, just remember you could be a Nebraska fan, right? You could be living in Nebraska where there's nothing to do. So you're a Nebraska football fan and a Nebraska sports fan, and you just lose every game just in the most heartbreaking fashion in the world. So just got to remember that, and I kind of keep that in the back of my mind as well whenever I get depressed from football. So yeah, just crazy game. I picked Nebraska to win. I thought Nebraska was going to start out strong, but man, was I wrong. Great win by Minnesota at home. Great atmosphere and great job by Minnesota. So I have 2 losses now. Next game we have is Virginia and Tennessee. I thought Tennessee would win this game. I picked Tennessee to win this game, but I thought it was going to be a very interesting game. I thought Virginia could give them some problems, and they didn't really. The Tennessee Volunteers kind of got off to a little bit of a slow start, had 1 touchdown in the first quarter, but Joe Milton kind of went off and did his thing for 21 completions out of 30 attempts, 70% completion percentage, 201 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 117 QBR. We saw a little bit of Nico. Not even going to try to pronounce his last name, the backup quarterback for Tennessee. He did pretty good himself. And, of course, Jalen Wright's an absolute monster in the backfield. Jabari Small's another really, really good running back, dude. This Tennessee offense is very scary, and they just looked just really good. This Tennessee secondary is still a problem. They still looked a little bit loose out there, not fully known where they were. That's definitely their weak point. So we'll see what happens. I do like their D-line and their front 7. So when the Gators play the Tennessee Volunteers, they're going to have to throw the ball a little bit more than probably what they want, but I think Graham Mertz is capable of it. So yeah, Tennessee, good win by them. I picked them to win. TCU and Colorado, probably the biggest game of the weekend. Definitely going to be one of the... I wasn't able to fully watch it because, once again, the premiere was going on, but I was able to tune in a little bit. What a game by Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes, dude. I mean, just an unreal game. It was a shootout. 45-42, Colorado wins it. I had TCU winning this game. I knew TCU would take a step down. They still have a good amount of production on their team, but I knew with losing their offensive coordinator to Clemson and losing, I think Max Duggan, I think was his name. Obviously, him leaving. I knew they were going to take a little bit of a step back. They do have Chandler Morris back there, and he played pretty well for the most part. Did have the 2 interceptions, but did play well enough to win at least. But man, just you could not stop Colorado. I mean, Colorado was everywhere, dude. Shedeur, I think his name is. Sanders was out there, man. 38 completions out of 47 attempts. That's an 81% completion percentage. 510 passing yards, and 4 touchdowns with 0 interception. That's 150 QBR. I don't care if you're playing the worst defense. I don't even care if you're playing McNeese State. An 81 completion percentage out of when you're throwing the ball for 47 times and you're throwing the ball for 510 passing yards. That's unheard of, dude. They proved me wrong. I thought Colorado would be rough this year. Kicking out all the other players, bringing in a bunch of guys from all over the place, bringing in a good amount of people from Jackson State, but still I didn't think they were going to have this team dynamic that they have. Deion Sanders, got a lot of respect for you, man. Great game. You're building a great program there, and I cannot wait to see what you guys do this week. Who you play, I think you play Nebraska, which we'll get to in a little bit. Crazy, crazy game. And a great win from Colorado. Definitely proved me wrong in most of the country there. Ohio State and Indiana is who we have next. I picked Ohio State to win this game, but I did think Indiana was capable of an upset, but they just really couldn't get anything going. Ohio State wins at 23-3. It was 10-3 going into halftime. And listen, Indiana gives Ohio State problems all the time. Every Ohio State fan will tell you that. Yeah, I mean, just Indiana really never did have a chance. Brennan Sorsby, their quarterback, 8 out of 15, 50% completion percentage and 58 yards. They tried to run the ball, but really just this Ohio State defense wasn't giving them anything. They just couldn't do much at all outside of that one drive. And on the other hand, man, Kyle McCord, they found their quarterback. 20 out of 33, 239 passing yards. And they did have that one interception, and they did let Devin Brown play a little bit, but and they ran the ball decent. I think Trayvon Henderson he got 12 carries, 47 yards, but only averaged 4 yards per carry. You got to get him. You got to utilize him. He's a phenomenal running back. So I think Ohio State's going to figure this stuff out. I think they might be playing their other quarterback this week, I think is what they said. I think they're playing both quarterbacks back-to-back. I'm not 100% sure. But Kyle McCord looked great. I think he's definitely probably the move for Ohio State. We'll see what they do. I think they're going to have a great year once they figure it out. I trust Ryan Day to get his team ready. This isn't really a shocking score for me, only winning by 20 points, which is not even 3 touchdowns. They were at Indiana, and Indiana always gives them problems. And I thought this game was actually going to be a little bit closer. But obviously, there you go. I got to win. I got a win under my belt, baby. So we got 2 wins. We got the Tennessee game and the Ohio State game. 2 semi-easy games to predict. Next game we have is the North Carolina and the South Carolina game, man. The Duke's Mayo Bowl, baby. This game was really fun. Wasn't able to watch a lot of this one either because I was at the premiere for the movie. But this game was, from what I saw and when I went back and watched the highlights and watched the game, it was very exciting, man. Mac Brown coming in here, dude, with, we're going to call him Carolina because they earned that, baby. Coming in here and taking on Shane Beamer's South Carolina Gamecocks. And they beat them 31-17. I had South Carolina winning this game. This is an L on my part. I thought North Carolina was not going to be able to figure out their defense once again, and man, was I wrong. Drake May came out, did what he did. I think everybody expected that. 24 for 32, 75 completion percentage, 269 passing yards, and 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. I don't care about those interceptions. He looked phenomenal out there. I think he threw an interception in his red zone, though. I might be wrong on that. British Brooks, I love British Brooks, dude. I think he's a phenomenal running back for Carolina Carolina can be very, very interesting this year. And now with what happened to Clemson, Carolina might be able to figure something out, man, in the ACC. So we'll see what happens. I think they play FSU this year. I might be wrong on that, but if not, man, that's what a missed opportunity because this could be one hell of a game if they do. Their defense looked good. Their defense looked really good. I thought Spencer Rattler, after ending the year off last year, would play a really good game, and he did. It's just the offensive line just was not there for him. Spencer Rattler was 30 for 39, 77% completion percentage, 353 passing yards. 0 touchdowns and 0 interceptions for 114 QBR. And just they did not have a run game at all. And Spencer Rattler just got sacked I think he had got sacked 9 times in this game. If you give this offensive line for South Carolina is very concerning because I think if you give Spencer Rattler time, he can be a decent quarterback. He's inconsistent still. But I do think he can make stuff happen on the field and win you games. And I feel like South Carolina and this offensive line did not give him that opportunity to do so. So just crazy to see. We'll see what happens with South Carolina. They are a very good team, but everybody was like they're going to upset Georgia this year. There's a possibility for that because I believe they play at South Carolina. I don't think it's going to happen anymore because that Georgia front is just going to destroy these people. It's not even going to be close. But great game by North Carolina. North Carolina is a very, very scary team, obviously winning by 2 scores. West Virginia and Penn State. I had Penn State in this game, and this was another one that I had right. Once again, another easy kind of one to predict. And I'm not doing lines. I'm just doing, just picking the winner overall. Let me find the game on here. West Virginia and Penn State. Did I not have this on there? Yes, I did. Penn State wins 38-15. James Franklin had his team ready against a West Virginia team who, I can't remember the coach's name, but he's on the hot seat. And actually showed up pretty well. I mean, it was 14-7 going into halftime. And I think West Virginia played a pretty good game, but Penn State really picked it up in that fourth quarter and really started doing their thing. And, of course, West Virginia had that desperate touchdown there late, trying to get some stuff going, but nothing came out of it. Penn State, like I said, looked good. I'm not on the Penn State hype train, though. I'm just not. Everybody's like, they're going to make the playoff. They're going to win the Big Ten. They're not. They're not going to. I just don't think James Franklin can ever really get them there. I just haven't seen it from him yet, and if you couldn't do it with Saquon Barkley, I don't think you could do it here. Drew Allar, a lot of people like him. 21 of 29, 72% completion percentage, 325 yards and 3 touchdowns. Played a really good game with 150 QBR. And Bo Pribalu or whatever played a little bit as well. Their backup quarterback was 1 for 1 for 7 yards. And Nicholas Singleton, I really do like at that running back spot. I actually really do like him. And, of course, Logan Allen played a really good game as well, both averaging for over 5 yards per carry. This Penn State offense is good, but once you get an offense that can stick with them like Michigan or like Ohio State, I think it's not going to look too pretty for the Penn State Nittany Lions. So, yeah, there we go. West Virginia, like I said, just kind of got shut out. They couldn't really do much there. So I had that one right. Thank God. Next one we have is Coastal Carolina and UCLA, a game that I wanted to pick because I knew it would be close, and man, was I right. So let me pull this one up real quick. Coastal Carolina. And do I not have it pulled up? Yes, I do. 27-13, UCLA pulls it out, but man, it was close. 13 of those points from UCLA came from that fourth quarter. They really started to go crazy there. Of course, you had Dante Moore and Ethan Garbers playing this game, both throwing interceptions and both throwing passing touchdowns. UCLA trying to figure out that quarterback spot. Let's see. It was... Before that fourth quarter, it was 13-14. Very, very close game. And then, like I said, that UCLA defense figured it out. To be honest, I feel like a lot of this has to do with just how the defensive play was. They were picking off every ball being thrown. Let's see, there was 5 interceptions in this game. 5 interceptions total in this game. Crazy. So just this game was going back and forth. I feel like UCLA is definitely the better football team. Chip Kelly is the better football coach. He knows how to build a program very well. Just a very off game, throwing interceptions, and it's that week 1 game, right? But I do like Carson Steele at that running back position for UCLA. I think he's a really solid pick, and I was able to see a little bit of this one just because I knew it was going to be a fun one, and it was very, very, very exciting. So fun stuff there. I picked UCLA to win, and I had that one locked down, baby. So let's get it. Next one we have, this one's crazy. LSU versus Florida State. Do I have this one picked? I do. Florida State wins 45-24, not even close, scoring 31 points in the second half, while LSU scored 7. And those 7 points came from a pretty trash time touchdown. I wasn't able to see the first quarter, but I started watching in the second, and man, Florida State dominated. I don't know if Florida State's just really good or if LSU's garbage. I feel like it's a little bit of both. I feel like LSU just didn't play a good game, and Florida State out-physicaled them. Florida State was so physical. This is a very physical game, but Florida State was having a ball out there. I'm still not crazy on Jordan Travis. Everybody's saying that, once again, his name needs to be in the Heisman race. I don't see that. Let me read off his stats, though. 23 for 31, 74 completion percentage, 342 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. That's cool. That's great. But it's very easy to take a quarterback that's good, like Jordan. He's a good quarterback. It's easy to take a quarterback that's good like Jordan Travis and make him look really, really good and even great when you have 3 of the best receivers in the country. And by 3 of the best receivers, let me go ahead and read them off for you. 1 second. Keon Coleman, one of the most underrated receivers coming into this year. For some reason, nobody was talking about him. Absolute monster, 122 receiving yards off of 3 touchdowns, by the way, off of 9 receptions. Johnny Wilson, the 6'7 monster out there that should be playing center for the Lakers, had 7 receptions for over 100 yards and had a 15-yard average. And then you go to Jaheim Bell, a phenomenal wide receiver. Only had 2 catches, but still for 50 yards, and that's a 25-yard average, and had a touchdown. These 3 receivers are top receivers at any other place. Maybe not Ohio State, but pretty much at any other program, as On3 would say. But they would be top receivers and starting receivers at any other program, dude. Mike Norvell just hit the portal, got his guys, and props to him for doing that. I'm just saying, I don't think Jordan Travis, when these receivers aren't having the best game and they're getting locked down, Jordan Travis is not good enough to put the team on his shoulders, I don't think, to win football games. Big games, at least. When their receivers are locked down. I'm just saying. I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. That's fine. I get it. Jordan Travis played a great game. I'm not saying he didn't play a great game. I'm just saying this Heisman Trophy talk is just a little too much for me. But I had LSU winning this game. I had them winning by 10 points. And Florida State proved me wrong. Florida State's a good team. Florida State definitely has a chance to win the ACC this year. They probably will. Before the Florida State fans start coming at me, you're just a Gator fan. I had Florida State in the college football playoff preseason. And then everybody started saying, they're going to win the ACC. They're going to win the college football playoff. They're going to make the national championship. And I'm like, okay, now I don't want to follow the group of people. Now I want to make my own prediction. And now I want to kind of get away from the group. So I still think Florida State is a top 10 team. But I don't think that they're going to make the playoff. They might sneak their way in the playoff. But they're not going to make the national championship. Next game we have is Clemson versus Duke. Clemson versus Duke. So many upsets, which we're about to get to in a minute. What a game. My buddy's a big Clemson fan. He was texting me depressed, and I was like, welcome to the club. Welcome to the club, buddy. I thought Duke was going to pull off an upset preseason, and then getting closer to this game, hearing how good Cade Klubnik was in training camp and fall camp, hearing how he was taking this team over now that DJ was off to Oregon State, hearing how him and his relationship with Garrett Riley is really good, and how they click with one another. And then you see this. Just didn't make any sense to me. I thought Clemson was going to come out and win this game very, very close. I had them winning by like 10 points, maybe a touchdown. I was wrong. Duke wins this game 28-7. 28-7, upsetting number 9 Clemson. Clemson's now, I believe, number 25 in the country. Here's what I'll say about Duke. I think they're a good team. I think they're very underrated. I really like Riley Leonard. I don't think Riley Leonard is going to be a great NFL quarterback, which, by the way, have a very good reputation for kind of feeling out college quarterbacks and their success in the NFL. But I think that he is a very good college quarterback. And if you put him around really good people, he can be very good. He ran the ball. He threw the ball. He did his job. Had 100 yards rushing pretty much, 175 yards passing. But it really wasn't him that won this game. It wasn't Duke that won this game. It was Clemson making these horrible mistakes. I mean, I think they only had 3 points out of all 4 possessions that they had inside their own red zone, or inside the red zone of Duke. And they fumbled the ball twice. They had a blocked field goal. I mean, it was just, I think they fumbled 3 times in the entire game, Clemson did. This game was just so rough for Clemson. I mean, the interception that Cade threw, I mean, it was just to end the game. I mean, I think Will Shipley fumbled it. It just did not go their way. The weird targeting call, because the targeting happened after he was down. Really weird. I've never seen anything like that personally on that 4th down. That changed the whole dynamic of this game and pretty much just gave the game to Duke for the win. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it makes sense. The play was over. He was down, and then the targeting happened. So the penalty would then be what's what I'm looking for, like processed or put into place after, like, when Duke gets their ball. So then they would be 15 yards back, and then the guy would be disqualified. So just listen, here's what I think about Clemson. I think Clemson's going to be a very good team. I think Clemson's going to back. Everybody's like, oh, Dabo Swinney's reign is over. The dynasty's gone. That's not true at all. People say that all the time about coaches, and they come back and they win the national championship. I'm not saying Clemson's going to do that. I do think Clemson's going to give FSU a run for their money in the ACC this year. I think Clemson's going to be a phenomenal team. I think Clemson's going to be a very good football team. I think Clemson's going to beat Florida State in the ACC championship this year. I think Florida State's going to beat Clemson in the regular season. But I think Florida State's going to lose to Clemson in the ACC championship now that there's no more, divisions. And I feel like that's going to be a big, big game. Something's telling me that. Everybody's already losing it over week one. It's so funny with college football. Everybody freaks out over week one games, and then it never proves to be true. You don't judge a team off of week one. You just don't. It never works well. Trust me, it never works well. Crazy game. That means I ended the week off 4-6. 3 games were very easy. Not very easy, but, pretty much given wins. Your boy's struggling this year. I've ended every single college football season that I've been doing this. I've always been over 500. I've always been positive in my records. So we're not starting off the way we want to. But this was week 1. Hopefully we kind of get everything going here soon. Speaking of upsets, a couple big upsets I want to kind of talk about. Baylor lost to Texas State, and they lost by 11 points. Dave Aranda, like him as a defensive coordinator and as a defensive mind, don't know what's happening here. He's already on the hot seat. Rough game by Baylor. And TJ Finley at Texas State. He was at Auburn and LSU, I believe. 22 of 30 for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns passing. I'm sure he ran the ball too. Yep. He ran the ball. 18 yards rushing, but there's probably some sacks in there. Because college football, we count sacks as rushing yards, which that's the one thing I think NFL does better. Texas Tech loses to Wyoming. Texas Tech, a team that I really was high on coming into the season. A lot of people were. Loses 33-35 in overtime to the Wyoming Cowboys, which to their credit, Wyoming is a very good football team. Wyoming is on the come up. They're very, very solid. Played a phenomenal game. But after that first quarter, Texas Tech put up 17 points in the first quarter. Everybody's like, all right, game's over. It's 17-0 going into the second quarter. They didn't score until the fourth quarter when they hit a field goal. And we went in a double overtime. Texas Tech had to go for 2 in double overtime and didn't get it. Wyoming got it. They win. Wyoming just played a more consistent game, which is very scary to see. I still believe in Texas Tech, though. We'll get to that in a minute. So speaking of that, do we have any other big things that happened? No, we do not. Time to talk about Week 2 games, baby. Time to dive into Week 2 games. So, I picked 10 games. Like I said, I pick 10 games every week, and I want to kind of get your guys' input on this. If there's any games in Week 3 or, weeks that are going to be like, next week, the week after, that you guys want me to predict in particular, let me know, and I'll add it to the 10 game, thing. So we have Vanderbilt and Wake Forest Saturday, September 9th. I like this game a lot. I really like this Vanderbilt team a lot. I love what, oh my God, what's his name? It's gone. It's Sean. It's Sean something, right? Can't remember the coach's name. That really bothers me because I say his name all the time, and I can see his face with his. I can see it, and it's just not coming to me. Oh, that really bothers me. But yeah, I really like what he's doing with this Vanderbilt program. He genuinely is building a culture there, which is very, very impressive. Vanderbilt has some talented guys. I like what they have at the quarterback position. I like what they have defensively. They played pretty well. I have Vanderbilt winning this game against Wake Forest. Wake Forest is good. They're at Wake Forest, which can definitely be a problem, but I'm really high on this Vanderbilt team. I think Vanderbilt's going to be 3-0, which is going to surprise a lot of people, but I really think they're going to be 3-0. Clark Lee. There you go. Clark Lee. I knew it. Really like what he's doing there. Iowa and Iowa State. Going to be a fun game. Iowa only put up, I think, 24 points the week 1 on a team they should have put a lot more points on. K. McNamara now is their quarterback there. Played a decent game week 1. Iowa, you got the Cyclones, man. I mean, just after that 2019 season, I think it was, where they were like top 10, right? Number 8 or whatever. And then they just kind of, with, what's his name, Brock Purdy. And now it's just kind of just gone way downhill. We'll see what Iowa State does here. It's at Iowa State. I just don't trust Iowa State, man. And there's no reason to trust Iowa either. But I'm going to go with Iowa here. I think K. McNamara just needs to make some big plays, and I think Iowa can come out. That defense is insane still. I think they can stop Iowa State enough, even though it's at Iowa State. Look at this. We're going with 2 of the away teams to start this out with. Then we got Texas A&M and Miami. Weird game. I wonder if this is a home-and-home series. I wonder if they're playing again next year at Texas A&M. It's at Miami. Texas A&M, good week 1 win. New offensive coordinator in there. Miami looked okay. Tyler Van Dyke looked all right against Miami, Ohio. Played a good game there. I don't like this game at all. It can really go either way here. I mean, both these teams, I think, are just too inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get out of them. Texas A&M is obviously the more talented team. Miami atmosphere doesn't do anything because they only got 10 fans. I'm gonna say Texas A&M is going to come in here and get a win. So we're going with 3 3 away teams to start this out with. I truly think Texas A&M is going to come in here and get a win in Miami. Ole Miss and Tulane. This is a game a lot of people are talking about, so I want to predict it. Tulane, not a bad defense, really good offense. They're building something pretty special there. Had a great year last year, and now I think they're doing some good stuff again here. Ole Miss is too good. Jackson Dart, they're good. Ole Miss is a good football team. Insane offense. Lane Kiffin, come on. I'm going to pick Ole Miss in this game. I just think this is, I think, going to be a battle of the offenses, and I think that Ole Miss has the better offense, and I think they can get a couple stops on defense. So I'm going to go with Ole Miss winning this game. I think Lane Kiffin's going to have his boys ready. They've been looking forward to this game and preparing. Because of that, I have Ole Miss getting this win over number 24, Tulane. That's a top 25 matchup. Next one we have is Oregon and Texas Tech. Oregon just beat the week 1 team like 81-7. Texas Tech obviously lost in a pretty disappointing fashion. At Texas Tech, they're pissed off. Tyler Schlaw, I believe, is the quarterback for Texas Tech, who is from Oregon, transferred from Oregon. This is a revenge game. Texas Tech is going to win. Texas Tech is going to shock the world and beat Oregon. And I don't know what Oregon is right now in the top 25. Let me look this up real quick. Hold on, let me look this up. Oregon Ducks. Let me see what they're ranked right now. Because they were number 15. They might be a top 10 team. This might be a top 10 upset. Number 13. Okay, so they moved up 2 spots. I have Texas Tech winning this game. Think they're going to get an upset. Think it's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think there's going to be a lot. It's probably triple overtime type game. I have Texas Tech having a huge win over here over Oregon. This next game is a very weird one, so I wanted to predict it. It's Auburn versus California. Really weird game. These 2 teams should not be playing each other. It's just kind of strange to see it on the screen. I like Auburn. I like Hugh Freeze. I think he's going to do some good stuff there. I think he's going to make them consistent and relevant again after Brian Harsin. I haven't seen California yet. Cal's always been just kind of a team out in California, kind of behind UCLA, kind of being overshadowed. I have Auburn, it's at California, which they're flying across the country for. And it's a late game, which is going to kind of I think mess them up a little bit. But I have Auburn winning this football game. We're picking a lot of away teams, I just realized. This is another one. UCF versus Boise State. I have UCF winning this game. Boise State just got manhandled by Washington. I mean, destroyed by Washington, which is very surprising. I thought Boise State was going to put up a better fight than that. Washington just might be pretty legit this year with Michael Penix Jr. over there, so that's a whole nother story. But yeah, UCF, man, looked really good against, I think they played Kent State. Plumlee just running around, John Rice Plumlee doing his thing when he plays. And I'm not going to lie, you ever just have an athlete you just don't like for no good reason? For me, it's John Rice Plumlee. I don't know. I just don't like him. And I just don't. I'm from Central Florida. I hate UCF. I used to be such a big UCF fan, and after that Mackenzie Milton 2019 year where they're national, or 2017 the national champions, the fan base has gotten so cocky and they think that they're all that, and it's so annoying, dude. I'm sorry, I can't. I really can't. Gus Malzahn, I've never really liked him either. So, I think they're meant for each other because of that. So I'm just not a UCF fan. I used to be such a big UCF fan. Then they just kind of ruined that culture, the culture there and the fan. It's just, and I live here, so I got to deal with it. And of course we lost against them in the Outback Bowl or whatever a few years back. And they still, oh wow, you guys won when we don't have a coach. Great for you. So I'm not a UCF guy. But I do think they're going to beat Boise State. Boise State, disappointing week. UCF's just too good. They offensively, at least, they have a very, very good offense. And John Rice Plumlee is very hard to defend. I'm not going to lie. I feel like I might have did 11 games on here because now we have Oklahoma State and Arizona State. Another away team. I think Oklahoma State's going to beat Arizona State. Very disappointing year last year for Mike Gundy and the Cowboys. But I do think they're going to go in here and beat Arizona State. Freshman quarterback and Jalen Rashada. The whole thing with him in Florida and Miami was weird. Just hit my mic. But I do think that Oklahoma State's just a better football team, and I think Jalen Rashada can get pretty rattled. I think Mike Gundy gets his defenses ready. It's going to be a very, very interesting game, and I think Oklahoma State's going to have a pretty decent year. I think they're going to get back. They're going to get back to their 9-10 win seasons that they usually have. There's another away team there. Stanford and USC. I have USC in this game. I think this is going to be just another statement game for Lincoln Riley. Get this defense ready. The Stanford offense isn't great. Do things. Figure out your defense. Just make your guys play disciplined football. That's all you have to do. Just get your boys ready. Make sure the defense just plays clean, and you'll be fine. You know you have a great offense. You know you have Caleb Williams that might go back-to-back Heismans. Get this defense ready. If you want to be elite, if you want to win the national championship, if you want to make the college football playoff and do something, you need to figure out this defense. I have USC winning that game. And then the big one that everybody's talking about, Texas versus Alabama. Alabama, both teams coming off pretty good week one. Quinn Ewers want to come in here and they want to have a revenge game. Last year's game was crazy. I remember watching it with my co-star, Joanna, at her house. Nick Swisher, all the guys. It was really fun. Crazy game. And I feel like this is going to be another classic right here. I think it's going to be another classic. Alabama won last year by 1 point. I think it's going to be another big shootout here. Listen, man, a lot of people on the Texas hype again this year, and they're saying no, but seriously, this is the year. Look, dude, Josh Pate, I love you, but come on. Texas is a good football team. Great defensive players, great offensive players. This definitely has the opportunity to be an upset for Texas. But I have Alabama winning the national championship this year. I think Alabama's going to play a great game. I think Jalen Milroe is a phenomenal quarterback. Not phenomenal, but he has the potential to be a phenomenal quarterback. Very gifted, very, very talented. And I feel like you're going to see a phenomenal game here by Jalen Milroe. This is going to prove if he's truly going to be a great starting quarterback for Alabama and if he's going to do big things here. I have Jalen Milroe having a good game. I have Alabama winning against Texas at home in Bryant-Denny Stadium. So there you go. Those are the games. I think I had 11, maybe. Let me count them real quick. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, it was 10. Okay, I had it right. Those are the 10 games for this week. Very interesting stuff. We'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a fun week for college football, so it'll be very exciting to watch for sure. And I realize we are getting close to an hour. I got to turn my phone off too, so I can end this podcast, baby. I really appreciate everybody hopping on here, man, and talking and not talking. You're watching, but I appreciate you guys hopping on here and listening to me talk. And listen, if you made it this far through the podcast, I love you. I respect you. Thank you. And to show me that you made it throughout this whole podcast, comment a little thumbs up emoji in the comment section down below, just so I know you're a real one. You're a real one for that. But yeah, no, I love you guys, man. Like I said, we're going to do this every single week. We're going to talk about a lot of different stuff. This is just more of kind of an intro to this thing. So you guys let me know. What you want to see next, what you guys want to see each week, what kind of things you want me to talk about. I can't really talk about movies or can't really talk about the acting industry too much when it comes to projects and things like that because of the strike going on. But I can still talk about like, how to get an agent and all that fun stuff and tips on the industry. So just let me know. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I will see you next week when we dive into seeing what happens in week 2 of college football. We review. This background's going to look a lot better. And a lot of fun stuff on the way. So I love you all. Stay safe. Talk to you next time, baby. Yeah.